Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, February 21st, 2020. I am Dave Biddle, very happy joined by Jonah Booker for his usual Friday visit. JBook and I have a wide-ranging show. We're going to get into the movers and shakers for the latest top 24/7 sports rankings for the 2021 class. Obviously, we're going to look at Buckeye commits and guys the Buckeyes are in on. JBook, let's start with Kyle McCord. He continues to rise up the rankings. He is now a 5-star quarterback. Ryan Day early on pegged him as a guy that he loved. He had his choice between J.J. McCarthy and Kyle McCord, and Ryan Day picked Kyle McCord. Just your thoughts on Kyle McCord as a prospect and the fact that he moved up to a 5-star ranking.
Yeah, I'm very happy for the kid that he got that ranking bump there. But it's a testament to Ryan Day and his eye for talent. A lot of people were saying that McCarthy was the best prospect, but Ryan Day thought otherwise. And I truly believe that if Ryan Day would have been full in on McCarthy, he would have been a Buckeye. But Day saw something in Kyle McCord. He has a big-time arm. He's playing against some of the best competition in his area. And getting him also played a huge role for getting Marvin Harrison Jr. So you have to like getting a two boom there out of the same high school. But I think he's a big-time prospect. And you look at Ohio State's quarterback room with the guys that they currently have on campus, and now you have McCord coming in, who's a big-time talent. It just speaks volumes for Ryan Day and guys trusting him to get the most out of them as far as the quarterback position.
Another guy that moved way up is Donovan Jackson. He moved up, more than Kyle McCord did. Donovan Jackson was already a 4-star prospect, Ohio State commit, offensive lineman from Texas. He's moved up all the way to a high 4-star in the Composite, and he's a 5-star according to the in-house 24/7 sports rankings. They have him all the way up to number 8 for our in-house rankings at 24/7 sports. But just your thoughts on Donovan Jackson moving up that much, J-Book?
Yeah, and just kind of reiterating what 24/7 has said about him, pretty much in all the camps and the showcases that he showed up at, he was absolutely dominant. He was a guy that really showed that he belonged. He showed that he's the top guard in the country. Pulling the top prospect out of Texas is a huge boom for Ohio State, considering they also did that with Garrett Wilson. The thing about him is he doesn't play against the best competition in high school, but going against some of the top high-end All-American talent on the camp circuits and some of the all-star showcases, he really showed that he belonged. So it's going to be interesting because his length is solid for a guard. I know in high school and stuff, they have him swinging out there at the tackle position. He's going to be better suited for playing inside. But just his raw talent, getting him on campus is going to provide much more needed depth on that offensive line.
On the other side of the ball, Mike Hall from Streetsboro, Ohio, continues to make a meteoric rise up the rankings. He's all the way now to the number 91 overall player in the country, number 8 defensive tackle, number 3 player in Ohio now. He was like number 9, I think, in the last ranking. So he shot up to number 3 in Ohio. No surprise to someone like yourself who's seen his film and knows about him. It just, what a great get for the Buckeyes to get him locked up early, to see him shoot up the rankings. What do you think the listeners need to know about Mike Hall, J-Book?
You have to like those Ohio kids that are willing to shut it down because they know that they want to be Buckeyes. And he mentioned that after his conversations with Ryan Day, he knew that he wanted to just shut it down. And this was way before his ratings bump came in. So Ohio State was in on him fairly early. They knew what they had in him as far as a prospect. He's a big boy. He's going to continue to grow. I like for him to be one of those alpha dogs in the middle who's going to be able to really flood up those lanes for the linebackers so that they can roam free. But for him, he's a penetrating guy. He's going to be able to get off the ball quickly. The thing about him is just continue to get bigger. I wouldn't mind seeing him playing around 290, 300 pounds. You want to have those big space eaters up there, but just getting the talent like him in the fold early on, especially locking down an in-state guy, is going to be tremendous as far as getting probably the best defensive line haul that Ohio State has seen in many years if things fall the way they're looking like they could for this 2021 class.
The one Ohio State commit that dropped a lot was Ben Chrisman. He dropped more than 100 spots in the 24/7 sports rankings. I mean, he's still ranked as the number 101 overall player in the nation according to the 24/7 sports composite, but the in-house rankings dropped him a lot. He also dropped from the number 2 player in Ohio to the number 5 player in Ohio according to the 24/7 sports in-house rankings. You know, you talk to people like Bill Green and Bill Kurlick, they're still really high on Ben Chrisman. And again, we're still talking about, even with him dropping in 24/7 sports' opinion, he's still like a top 200 player in the nation, still really good, and still a top 101 player in the nation according to the composite. So what do you make of that? What do you make of Ben Chrisman dropping so much?
Yeah, I found that fairly interesting that they were that aggressive when it comes to dropping him. But he's still a heck of a prospect. I just think it's 24/7 saying that he's a guy that's probably not as good as advertised early on by looking at the film and things of that nature. But for him, he has an opportunity to really bounce back. He needs to put together a great year as far as on the football field, and then it's up to him if he wants to participate in the full camp circuit. A lot of guys who are committed, and they were committed that early on, they just believe in themselves. They don't always feel like they have something to prove. So it'll be interesting to see if he wants to participate in all of those camp circuits, which a lot of times dictate where your rankings are. If you're going to be a mover up or a guy that's going to fall down, a lot of times if you see a guy who's just comfortable within themselves, feel like they don't need to prove something, and they don't participate in the camp circuit, a lot of those guys don't see a huge bump. They usually see those guys falling a little bit further down the rankings.
I want to ask you about a couple running backs in the 2021 class, and then we'll move on to other topics. Let's start, before we get to Travion Henderson, let's start, stay in the state of Ohio, and with Corey Kiner, he moved up a little bit. He moved up from, the number, I think, 8 player in the state to number 7 player. He's now the number 10 running back in the country, number 156 overall prospect in the country, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. Young man out of Cincinnati, Roger Bacon. I mean, I've heard Bill Green say that, if he called Ohio State and said he wanted to commit right now, would they take him? They would, he said. And I was like, wow. I mean, I would think it would be definitely. I mean, this is a guy that's one of the better running backs in the country. And again, we'll get into Travion Henderson and some of the other guys are in on, but I think Kiner would be a take. Just your take on what you think about Corey Kiner as a player and him moving up a little bit in the rankings.
Yeah, it's depending on who you listen to as far as Ohio State recruiting pundits. Some of them have varying opinions on him. Some people think that he may be a take right now. Others believe that down Ohio State's recruiting board as far as the running back position, and he may not actually be a take right now because they feel really good on where they stand with Henderson and some of the other top running backs in the nation. I think it's just going to be what Ohio State, how they view him as far as the actual pure talent. I truly believe that Ohio State needs a home run hitter to complement some of the backs that they currently have on their roster. And I think that's what you get out of Henderson, a guy that can hit that hole, and if he gets a crease, then he's going to take it to the house. Will you get that out of Kiner? Who knows? How big will he get? But if Ohio State, if there's a lot of question marks surrounding if he's a take right now, I would lean towards that's probably the case. Usually if the Ohio State recruiting analysts believe that a guy is a take and he's a surefire talent, there's usually an agreement amongst them all. But if there's a guy that a lot of people are unsure of, there's probably a little smoke there that he may not be a take right now. Not to say that he's going to be a guy that Ohio State, will absolutely just flat out say no. I think they probably want to see how things shake out with some of the other top running backs that they have their eyes on.
And let's get to Travion Henderson, the number 1 running back in the country according to 24/7 Sports, number 11 overall according to 24/7 Sports. You look at the composite, similar but a little lower rated, number 2 running back in the country, number 27 overall prospect, young man out of Hopewell, Virginia. Travion Henderson, as you and I talked about, do you think it's down to Ohio State and Oklahoma? At least those are 2 leaders right now. Just how do you think this is going to shake out with Travion Henderson?
Right, and he recently did an interview with 24/7 Sports where he mentioned Ohio State and Oklahoma as being the 2 teams that are standing out to him as far as his recruitment goes, and those are the 2 teams, according to him, that are recruiting him the hardest. The thing that you have to like about him, according to his coaches, he was only getting about 13 touches a game, but as far as his body development, he's put on 15 to 20 pounds from the previous season to this past season as far as body weight and muscle. So they project that he's going to be playing around – he played around 190 pounds this past year, and if he continues to get bigger, the sky's the limit for this kid, and that's what you want to look at as far as running backs. Where are they at as far as their ceiling and their potential? And I think with this guy getting so limited amount of carries per game, he's still growing. He's showing that his body can handle the additional weight. I think he can play at 200-plus easily and still have that explosive ability in his games. So just seeing that he has so much untapped potential, but he's already so good at what he does tells you that he is a big-time talent, and I think he is a major, major priority, in my opinion, for as far as Ohio State, considering Ohio State has missed on some of their top-tier running backs over the past couple of classes. So getting him should be, one of the top 5 priorities in the class, along with Tony Grimes, cornerback, and bringing in some more defensive back there. But a running back has to be addressed. Tony Alford really needs this one. He really needs this win. And he spoke very highly this week of Tony Alford, saying that he has a great relationship with him, and Tony Alford has really stayed in touch with him on a day-to-day basis via text message, and he's talked to Ryan Day, and they've really shown him how he would fit in this Ohio State offense. So if you're looking at running back production, obviously Ohio State running back position has fared really well compared to Oklahoma. And I just think that right now Ohio State has really positioned themselves here, and Steve Wilfong even came out and said that Ohio State's in a great position for him. But to me, I think it's going to come down to Tony Alford. He needs to close his kid.
Let's finish the show talking about Ohio State's 2020 offensive line. This could be a great offensive line, Jonah, when you look at, 3 returning starters with Thayer Munford back at left tackle, Josh Myers at center, Wyatt Davis at right guard. I think Harry Miller, you can plug him in there at left guard, and he's going to do really well. It's almost like you got, the 4 spots are locked up, as Matt Baxendale mentioned on Wednesday's morning 5-ish. Right tackle is very interesting to me because I think we all have Nicholas Petit-Frere penciled in there. We don't have him in Sharpie because Dawand Jones is looming. Paris Johnson's in the mix, too. I think Paris Johnson's probably going to be the backup to Thayer Munford, if I had to guess. But, man, I envision a very good battle at right tackle between NPF and Dawand Jones. Do you agree with me? And if so, how do you see it shaking out there?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I'm pumped up about this offensive line this year. I think, and it was even said in the boarding house that this is probably the best high-end talent when it comes to the offensive line that Ohio State has seen for years. And the offensive line play has been pretty solid these last couple of years, and especially that run that Urban Meyer had there with Ed Warner. They were absolutely flat-out dominant. But I think the guys that they have now here, the meshing of them is going to be key. Wyatt Davis is a first-round pick in my mind. Josh Myers is going to be a day 1, day 2 selection in the NFL draft. You got a 3-year starter in Thayer Munford coming back. As long as he can stay healthy, he's going to be a guy that's going to push for all Big Ten. But as far as the right tackle position, I think it's going to be Nicholas Petit-Frere, he's going to get his first crack. All indications are they're happy with his progress as far as getting the weight on. That was his main issue. He came in really light. I know they had him ramping up his calorie intake to make sure that he can pack on those pounds, and I think he's ready to go. Just giving him that confidence of being a starter is going to be big for his development. But Dawand Jones, they love him. They love the way he's developed. He's further ahead than what they really anticipated. So just getting him to push MPF is going to be huge, and I agree with you there. I think Paris Johnson is going to be battling and probably be on that left side there because he's a true left tackle. But you have to like the depth there. We actually have some pure tackles, and they're going to be pushing each other, so that's going to bode well for the program, especially the offensive line. But I like Dawand Jones. I like the way he moves. I like his enthusiasm. He's a massive man. I know a lot of people originally said that he's going to be a guy that needs to shed some pounds and get in better shape, but he moves well for his size. And Mick Marotti has said that they love his attitude. Like, they would just yell and scream at this kid, and he would just smile back and just go as hard as he can for as long as he can. And he's learning more about his nutrition and how to take care of his body. So you have to really give credit to Stud because he has recruited these guys, and at the moment he's starting to show that he's developing these guys. So just having so many bodies at the tackle position is going to bode well throughout the year.
Excellent insights, as always, from Jonah Booker. Thank you very much, JBook, and thank you to all listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.